Many countries around the world wage wars, whether it be the war on terror, the war on drugs, the war on human trafficking, or slavery. Though Saudi Arabia wages some of these wars and is in the midst of some of them right now. It also believes in waging another type of war, a war that no other country wages, or frankly, a war that no other country believes in waging. It wages a war on witchcraft, sorcery, and black magic. In the dawn of 2009, when the Middle East was recovering from the war on terror, Saudi Arabia saw a rise of black magic and sorcery occurrences within the country. The Committee for the Promotion of Virtue and the Prevention of Vice, a religious organization tasked with implementing Hisbah, established a small separate unit to combat this rise. The CPVPV, as it's called, have the authority to question and detain anyone who deems themselves a threat to the community and reinforce the Hisbah principle, which means to enjoin good and forbid evil, which meant that this unit is also able to exercise those powers. Amongst having a large number of personnel on standby should anything happen, they also have a hotline for members of the public to inform them about any suspicious activities. In a lot of ways, they're actually similar to the Ghostbusters. Before the establishment of this unit, there was a steady rise in cases of sorcery that was possibly attributed to the creation of this unit. They probably saw that to combat the growing threat of sorcery and educate people between sorcery, black magic, and unusual occurrences that can sometimes be classified as mental health, or there are some scientific reasons behind it, they created this unit for that particular reason. They say that their main aim is to teach people what is classified as real sorcery and what is just a silly trick, as they believe people are quite quick to blame black magic or jinns or witches when things go wrong. This behavior is actually more present in the older generation as opposed to the younger generation. When it came to the CPVPV, they would usually just arrest suspects, often without finding any kind of concrete evidence. Yet the anti-witchcraft unit established a thorough investigation to make sure that they are actually dealing with the cases of sorcery and it's not just someone playing silly tricks. Before the establishment of this unit, there was a steady rise in cases of sorcery that was possibly attributed to the creation of this unit. Here are a few notable ones. At the end of May in 2006, the CPVPV received a call for a witch conducting strange rituals in an apartment of a 4-story building, so they conducted a raid on that building. When they opened the door, they found a woman of African descent totally naked. The members of the team were obviously embarrassed at the sight and tried to cover her with clothes and rags of anything that they could find, but she refused and did something astonishing in front of them. They said that she flew like a sparrow outside of the window and disappeared. 20 people saw her doing this and all were left in awe. Then they searched the upper and lower floors frantically to find the woman. They received a call for help from a resident of the building in the upper floors. He was in his pajamas with his 2 boys behind him, cowering. He said that he heard a sound coming from the son's room. When he went to check it out, he saw a naked African woman. His sons told him that she fell through the ceiling, and worried for his kids, he ran out with them. The men then barged into the apartment and prayed verses from the Quran, which seemed to be causing pain to the witch. Then they threw the cloth over her and arrested her. Some of the men then went back into the unit of the apartment of the witch and found various materials: talismans, incense burners, stitches, videotapes, and a belt belonging to a female student who they believe has been bewitched. They also found that she was sitting atop a copy of the Quran. This was reported in the newspaper Al Arabiya. Similarly, in the year after that, in 2007, ABC Australia reports that the CPVPV found an Egyptian man desecrating the Holy Quran. This Egyptian man was accused of several things. Firstly, he was accused of committing black magic on a married couple, driving a wedge between them. The evidence for this was found in his home, where there were books on black magic, a candle with incantations to summon devils, and foul-smelling herbs. Secondly, he was accused of desecrating the Quran by placing it in the bathroom. According to scholars, magicians use the desecration of holy items to persuade the shayateen to help them. This blasphemous ritual allows them to increase their ranks in front of the devils. The authorities first heard about him from mosque worshippers who complained that a pharmacist had placed copies of the Quran in washrooms, which is a scary thought if you think about it, as magicians are often said to be jahil, Yet here we have an educated man committing unholy acts, maybe out of love. After that, no one really knows what happened to him, whether he is still alive or not. Here is a more recent case. In 2013, the anti-witchcraft unit was called to a Saudi employee's residence where he accused 2 Asian maids of practicing sorcery, saying that his family has been harmed by the sorcery practiced against them by the maids. The unit raided the house of the 2 maids and found talismans and other magic items in their bedrooms. The court quickly concluded that they were guilty and sentenced them to 10 years in prison with 1,000 lashes each. Another case a few months later was similar to this one, where there was a runaway Indonesian maid who was accused by her employer of casting a magic spell on the family, causing fits and epilepsy on not just one but the whole family. This employer from Saudi Arabia said that the maid joined their families nearly 3 years ago and has been treated nicely by all family members, and after she had fled, they had found magic items planted in various parts of the house. There is an ever-increasing number of sorcerers and magicians compared to before. In 2009, the unit booked 118 people as sorcerers and magicians, yet in 2012 that number rose to 215. Some people have heralded this unit as a success story of more magicians being busted and charlatans being exposed. Yet there are rightful critics of this unit, the CPVPV and the Saudi Arabian judicial system as a whole, and I am in fact one of those people. After reading further into the cases, my opinion of why this unit needed to be established slightly changed. Sorcery and magic will forever be harmful to anyone that practices it, that is a fact, and those who are intended targets. But state-sanctioned units like these bring nothing but more harm and chaos. Almost all of the cases I have read have had an element of non-Arab influence, like the Egyptian man, or the African witch, or the Indonesian one. The perpetrator in 90% of these cases is almost non-Arab, and that should tell you something. Most of the time, these people aren't even Muslim. Most of them are non-Muslims who practice their own faith and are wrongfully accused of practicing sorcery and magic when instead they are actually practicing their own faith. Though I do agree that some of these cases can be real, like the case of the Egyptian man, because black magic is known to break apart marriages and cause rift between partners. That's just what it's known for sometimes. But some of them can be made up, given Saudi Arabia's treatment of other races. Have we not heard of maids and servants who have been forcefully kept to serve their employers, their passports taken away, they are beaten daily? Of course, if you think about it, it's very easy to blame someone for magic in a country where superstition about magic is believed by 90% of the population, and they're taken very seriously. There was a case in 2006 that went international about a woman named Fawza Saleh. She was accused of witchcraft and the CPVPV took her away. She was also pregnant at that time, and it has been reported later that she was actually beaten into a confession which caused her to miscarry. And that accusation was by a single man who said that her witchcraft made him impotent. She was also denied any legal representation and was illiterate and couldn't read at all, but was forced to sign the confession. She was then sentenced to execution, but that never happened, and instead in 2009 it was alleged that she choked on her food and died in prison. The fact that there is no proper due course in Saudi Arabia's judicial system should be concerning, because at any rate anyone could be accused of being a magician and there would be no proper investigation to make sure that it actually is. Even though the anti-witchcraft unit has actually said that they do conduct proper investigation, that claim is still yet to be proven true. And last but not least, this unit needs professional oversight to make sure that they're actually nabbing the right suspects and not innocent people wrongfully accused. If anything, there needs to be a proper reform to the laws concerning black magic and sorcery in Saudi Arabia to make sure that there are proper investigations that can be carried out despite the difficulties present. Thank you for watching, and Jazakallah.